Food waste is a global problem that affects every corner of the world. Every year, huge amounts of perfectly edible food end up in landfills, contributing to environmental degradation. In the United States alone, about 40% of all food goes uneaten, which is a staggering statistic. This waste has serious consequences, both for our environment and our wallets, costing billions of dollars annually. One major culprit behind this waste is confusion over date labels, which often leads to unnecessary disposal of food. Many people believe that date labels indicate when food is no longer safe to eat, but this is not always the case. However, this is a common misconception that needs to be addressed. Most date labels actually refer to food quality, not safety, meaning the food can still be consumed after the date. They tell us when a product is at its peak freshness, but often, food is still perfectly good to eat well past the date on the package, reducing waste. This misunderstanding leads to perfectly good food being thrown away, contributing to the massive problem of food waste, which we must urgently address. Before supermarkets, people relied on their senses to determine the freshness of food. They could smell, touch, and visually inspect produce and meat to assess their quality. However, the rise of supermarkets and processed foods made it harder for consumers to judge freshness. To address this, manufacturers introduced open dating in the 1970s. This system used date labels to signal when food was at its peak quality. It was intended to help supermarkets with stock rotation and give consumers an idea of when products would be at their best. However, these labels were never meant to indicate safety. The problem is that date labels are not standardized and can be confusing. Many consumers are left wondering what these dates actually mean and how they should influence their purchasing and consumption decisions. Best by and use by are the most common labels, but their meanings are often misunderstood. This confusion can lead to unnecessary food waste, or conversely, potential health risks. Best by simply indicates when a product will have the best flavor or texture. It is a quality indicator, not a safety one. It does not mean the food is unsafe to eat after that date. You can still enjoy the product, though it might not be at its peak quality. Use by, on the other hand, is a more safety-related indicator, but it is typically reserved for highly perishable items like meat and dairy. These items can pose health risks if consumed after the use-by date. Even then, these dates are often conservative. Manufacturers tend to err on the side of caution. Most food remains safe to eat for a period after the use-by date, as long as it has been stored properly. Proper storage can significantly extend the shelf life of many products. There are, of course, exceptions to this rule. Some items are more prone to spoilage and should be handled with extra care. Certain foods, like ready-to-eat salads and deli meats, have a higher risk of bacterial growth and should be consumed closer to their use-by dates. Always prioritize safety when it comes to these items. To combat food waste, we need to address the confusion surrounding date labels, which often leads to perfectly good food being thrown away prematurely. One effective solution is to standardize date labels and use clearer, more understandable language that everyone can easily interpret. For example, we could replace best by with peak freshness to indicate quality, and reserve, use by for products with genuine safety concerns to avoid any health risks. Another important step is to educate consumers about the true meaning of date labels and encourage them to rely on their senses, such as sight and smell. If a product looks, smells, and tastes fine, it is likely safe to eat, even if the date has passed. This can significantly reduce unnecessary waste. Reducing food waste is crucial for a sustainable future, as it helps conserve resources and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. By understanding date labels and using our senses, we can all do our part to minimize waste and ensure that perfectly good food doesn't end up in landfills, contributing to a healthier planet.